Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. Now, towards the end of May, I saw this kind of videos popping up throughout in my booktube feed, and it is that most of the booktubers whom I followed, they came up with this thing and just started reading 7 books in 7 days, which might sound a bit intimidating, but I wanted to try it, and so I did. I read 7 books in the first 7 days of June, and I should say it was very much productive if you ask me. And in today's video, I'm just going to give you a little synopsis of all those 7 books. Now, before getting into the books, actually, let's see a little stats. And of these 7 books, the first 5 books which I read, which I'm going to speak about, are audiobooks. The next one is a physical book, and the last one which I'm going to speak about is an ebook, and it is also a comic. So, without any further ado, let's get into today's video. I noticed this thing just now. Of the 7 books that I read, 5 of them are non-fiction books, which is like a huge accomplishment to me. I have not read like 5 non-fiction books in a single week ever. This is the first time that's happening in my life, and I just wanted to tell it before getting into the books. The first book, which I finished in the month of June, is Personal Success by Brian Tracy. Now, this is a self-help non-fiction book by Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is one of those non-fiction or self-help gurus out there, and he has many books. He has many works out there, and there's a huge portion of his collections that are available in Audible as well as Storytel, so you can try them out. And I'm dipping my toes and reading a few of his works, which all seem very good in every aspect as far as I've seen. Now, in this book, Personal Success, he gives us 21 simple ways or rules which we can follow in our daily life in order to become a bit more successful compared to other people. Normally, most of us are working with many other people in firms and companies and any other institution like that, and it is very difficult in order to outstand many people who are working to you, who are working with you, as well as to be successful apart from being outstanding also. So in this book, he gives us some tips which we can follow, and I'm sure that most of these are very logical, very practical, and if we do put them into action, they'll give us very great results. Next book which I read is Get Paid More and Promote It Faster, also by Brian Tracy. Now, in this book also, Brian Tracy gives us 21 rules or just simple ways in order to get paid more as well as get promoted in an easier and faster way, but along with a lot of hard work put in it. Now, I don't know why I took these 2 books back to back, because it was not such a good decision. In a way, it was a good decision, but in another way, it was not, because these 2 books have a lot of repetitive points. I read Personal Success first, and then the next day I read Get Paid More and Promote It Faster. Now, nearly one fourth of what was said in Personal Success has been repeated as such, word after word, in Get Paid More and Promote It Faster also. But I'm not saying that those points are not valid. They are very much valid points. They are very much practical points. They are points which will actually work out in real life. But there's no need to put the same points again and again in every book, at least in those 2 books as far as I've read, and it was a bit bumming for me. But except for that, the book also has a lot of gems which we can follow, and I'd suggest you to take down notes while reading non-fiction or self-help books like these, because there's a very great chance that we'll forget more than half the things which we read. And the main thing or main purpose of reading non-fiction, according to me, is that to put something from our side as a practice from that book into our life, and that's how we can get benefit from that. So if you're a person who's not taking down notes or making a record of what you're reading while reading non-fiction, please do it. I know that it's a bit tough to write down things, because while you're reading itself is tough for some people, and if you have to write, that itself make you not want to read. So I'd suggest you to take notes in your phone. That's way too easier. And if you're even more lazier, that is you don't even want to text and store your notes, I'd suggest you to use voice notes, because voice notes are available in every phone, every Android phone out there. So I think you have to take a record, because it will be very much helpful in the future. The next 2 books are also by a single author, and the first book of these 2 is This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. Now, this is a non-fiction book, but it is not like a self-help book in any way. It's just the memoir of the author while he used to be a junior doctor after college for like 10 years of time. He was not a junior doctor for all the 10 years. He was in his that is, he was a junior doctor in his formative years, and later he became a senior, and he worked in a lot of medical projects. Now, this book, why I'll say is special to me, it's special because I have read it in this time, that is during this COVID crisis, because doctors are struggling a lot right now, and this book, it has elevated my respect towards doctors to another level, if you ask me, and I think everyone needs to read this book. Now this book is about the author, as I said before, and he is a male who's a gynecologist, so his field of practice in medicine is not so normal as for other male doctors. He has put forth his challenges and how weird people are and how weird cases can get for being a doctor. And though you make a lot of money out of it, what all it takes. I know that what it takes to be a doctor, that is what you have to do in order to become a doctor, but what it takes to be a doctor, that is, after becoming a doctor, you would be a doctor forever in your life, and that will take a lot. I just read this and loved this. I think everyone needs to read this book, and I also have an upcoming review, that is a dedicated review for this book, so do watch out for that. The next book which I read is also by Adam Kay, and it is Twas the Night Shift Before Christmas, and this book is like a follow-up for This Is Going to Hurt. It is not a long book. This Is Going to Hurt is also not a very long book. It's nearly 300 pages long, and but I'm sure that it will take a lot of time to read because it is so intense and it is so power-packed. You will need to breathe in between reading paragraphs or pages in this book because it's that good. And in this one, it is specifically about the night shifts that the author has worked as a doctor during Christmas Eve, and it is horrible, it's terrible. And while every other person in the world is enjoying the upcoming festival in the evening before or the night before, doctors, they are just tiring and they are just busting their asses out, and we don't even acknowledge them. I know that we are paying doctors a lot for the deeds that they do, but this book has how to say, it has opened my view a bit more and showed me that money is not all that matters to doctors. The acknowledgement for their service matters a lot more. I think everyone needs to read these two books. If you get a chance, please do read these two. The next book is Cracking the Human Software by Sadhguru. Now, in this book, I can say this is a speech rather than a book. It was like a motivational speak listening to this book, and also this is available only in the audiobook format, so you cannot search for written copies or physical copies anywhere because they are not available. Even the ebooks are not available. It's just available in the audiobook format. And if you're planning to get any subscription, do search for this. And if you're using Storytel right now, please do search for this and listen to it. It's just 1 hour long, I think. It will not even take that much time. And the idea of the book is rooted in how we live today, and how it is a bit distant as well as so close to the culture, that is the Indian culture that we follow. I just liked it a lot. I listened to this before work last week. I think it was on a Tuesday or Wednesday morning, and it made me feel very fresh and enthusiastic. And if you're looking for something which is short as well as it must motivate you to read more or do more good stuff, then you have to listen to this one. The next one is the only physical book which I read in that 1 week, and it is Going Postal by Terry Pratchett. Now, as I've said many times before, this is one of the books from his Discworld series, and the Discworld is a world in which the earth is shaped like a disc and it rests on the back of 4 elephants who are standing on the shell of a turtle, and the turtle is just swimming through space. That's the simplest explanation of what the Discworld is. And in this book, we have this main character whose name itself makes me want to laugh, and he's Moist Lipwick. Okay, he's a fraud. He's a thief, not a thief. He's a fraud, and he's to be executed for that. And instead of dying, he is given the job of the postmaster in the post office in Bournemore Park. I think that's how you pronounce that city's name. And the things which follow that, they are just hilarious. They make you want to think a lot. It's just that good. And I even put up a story in my Instagram highlighting a line from this book where which the author uses, and it depicted the mood of the book or the thing about the book in a proper way. I'm just going to say the line right now. Okay, it is smash the barsteds. Now, I didn't say anything bad. I didn't utter a bad word. It's just that you heard it wrong. Okay, I'll just spell the word out. There are 2 words: BAR space STUDS. Barsteds. It sounds like a bad word when put together, right? Smash the barsteds. That's the line which I love the most in this book. And if that line makes you want to laugh, then you definitely have to read this one. The last book which I read in those 7 days, is Thor, Goddess of Thunder, Volume 1 from Marvel. You heard me right. Thor, Goddess of Thunder. That's the book. And in this book, the basic premise for this comic is that Thor, who's the God of Thunder, he has that hammer, which we all know, and he's the only person capable of lifting that. And Captain America also after Endgame. And what happens in this book, in the beginning of this book, is that Thor is not able to pick up the hammer. It has a very good name. I just don't remember the name right now. And what happens? There's this girl who is able to pick up that hammer. Then it is set up in such a way that the legacy of Thor has been passed on. Since Thor got this hammer, he does not need two weapons. That is a hammer as well as an axe. So the legacy has passed on, and a lady, she has become Thor, and that's how it starts. She feels like she has she has stolen something away, but it's not. It's just the hammer has chosen her, and she becomes Thor. This is the first volume of her story, and it was very good. It is very much entertaining. If you want a superhero story from a very different angle, then you have to read this one for sure. So those were all the 7 books which I read in the first 7 days of May. And if you're planning to take up this challenge of 7 books in 7 days, I'd highly recommend you to do this, because it will help you read a lot more and be more productive than you normally are, because I just felt it and I've experienced it. And that's it for today. If you did enjoy watching this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.